This stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him. I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
It's a battleground. It always has been. It always will be in a championship scenario like this. Back for a second season with all of the trimmings that are put on top of that. You very seldomly find yourself in a situation like this. Some amazing drivers in what is now 2 categories, what is now 2 lots of races tonight, and halved the time as well. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Kieran McGinley here today for action brought to you by World Pro Racing and the World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series. €500 prize pool with 250 of which going to the race winner. Kieran, we start out today's proceedings in the wonderful, wonderful Emilia-Romagna, which of course is not San Marino. We are in the wonderful Imola track today, and it's arguably what I would call my most favourite circuit of them all.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wherever you're watching, it's great to have you watching along with the stream. Wherever you're watching the stream as well. Yes, Imola. I can't think of many people who don't like this track. I've got to be honest with you. It's a flowing circuit with many high-speed corners, a couple of chicanes thrown in there to really test you, as well as Ravazza down the bottom of a strong and really fast turn 16 down towards the 2 almost 90-degree corners that then bring you onto the start-finish straight that isn't quite as straight, but we'll get to that later, I'm sure. Yes, new format, a slight tweak to the format. We've got 15 minutes of practice, 15 minutes of qualifying, which decides the grid for both of the 15-minute races coming up, and a lot of points on offer for these drivers here in this series.
Absolutely. The amount of points that these drivers get are staying exactly the same. It's 35 points for a race win. It's 30 for second and 25 for third position. This will go all the way down until these drivers hit 6th place, which is 10 championship points. And from there, all the increments go down by 1 point in this championship. However, there are now bonus points on offer in this championship, and they are very important. 10 bonus points go to the driver who gets pole position. It's crucial to note as well, qualifying decides both races here today, both race 1 and race 2 of the championship. So that's how they'll be starting on the grid. Of course, if you lead the most laps in this championship race that you find yourself in, you get an extra 2 bonus points on top of that. If you set the fastest lap of the race, you get 5 championship bonus points. And one thing for Assetto Corsa Competizione, which will be very interesting for some new viewers who don't understand what ACC is all about, Kieran, most consistent. You get a consistency rating after your race. And if you've got the highest percentage to 100%, you're getting 5 bonus points.
And that's a nice way to add on some much needed points as well, especially when you're scrapping for a championship battle. Don't forget as well, fastest lap of the race as well as most laps led also get those bonus points on offer. So there are a lot of points on offer. And with a sprint series, you're expecting lots of races, lots of points on offer. So plenty of chances and plenty of opportunities to stay in a championship. And even if you have a bad race, we saw last season, it was a sprint series. It was a quick race. It flew by. However, you only had 1 chance per night to score those points. Now you've got 2 chances. So don't throw in the towel if the first race doesn't go your way. The second race can just be as rewarding.
Absolutely, it can. We'll be heading over to practice very, very soon here with World Pro Racing. We're streaming live, of course, on YouTube, on Facebook Live, and on Twitch, as well as motorsport.tv, on TVM Sport, and, of course, with ESTV, the Esports Television Network, who have now just added the iRacing Porsche Super Cup into their brand new lineup as well. So make sure you check out ESTV on top of that. We move, though, into practice, and, well, we do understand that in this championship you are allowed to choose whatever car that you like per race, per event that you find yourself in. And, well, Imola today, it seems like there's been a bunch of Mercedes on ordering because they are pretty much all there with a couple of exceptions.
Yeah, I have to say, it is a load of Mercedes heading their way out to Imola. So, obviously, a Mercedes, a real fan favourite here when we come to Imola. Just to pretty much pick out a few. Mangione there in the Lexus, I do believe. Jan and Nicholas Erbeck also thinking the same. But, yeah, few and far between. You've got cars that are not a Mercedes. And Jimmy Holm there, number 777 in the Ferrari, of course, at the Enzo Edino Autodrome. So a nice touch there from Jimmy Holm to actually drive in a Ferrari at what would be the spiritual home of both the Ferraris.
Absolutely, of course, this is the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Edino Ferrari as the Finnish driver Jimmy Holm looking to try and give as much as he can in the 777 car to move up through the field and make sure that he gets himself qualifying forward. We've also got Jan Ryler running around in a Ferrari as well, but we are in free practice and these conditions seem like they are very overcast here today, so these drivers are going to have to be very much on their games. Luke Whitehead, currently the fastest at the moment, 140.227, ahead of a driver who won the championship last time out, has the number 1 next to his name. Nigel Mansell famously was Red 5. This is Red 1 Messaoud.
Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible. And if that's the way you're starting the season here, Jake, anyway, less said about that, the better. Luke Whitehead, though, top of this table. I know it's only practiced so far by 0.017 seconds at the moment. Now, we saw him absolutely fly out of the blocks at Silverstone when we headed here for season 1, and he looked on the pace, and it just didn't quite seem to work for him for the rest of the season. He'll be hoping that not only is it a good start to this season 2, but he'll be hoping as well that he'll have a bit more consistency, a bit more running higher up the order, if you like.
Exactly, and all these drivers are looking to try and get points early on the board. Someone who fell foul last season, finished 2nd overall in the championship, but could have got so much more had he had a good start to the season. Jack Noller here in the GT Omega RPM Esports car. This is going to be a very, very tough battled season, especially with 15 minutes on the clock for all of these races, because what you had with 30 minutes is that you had time to go forward and make some places and make some gains. You don't have that in 15 minutes. You have to be aggressive. You have to go for 50-50 moves. And very much for a sprint series, this is going to feel like watching touring cars.
It is. But obviously, Imola provides that sort of great battling that we've seen, especially into what you say here, Tosa, as well as going down to Acqua Minerale. If you're really brave, try a move there. But where drivers love this track, the overtaking opportunities, because there are so many mid-speed corners, there aren't actually many to choose from. I mean, you're going to have to be insane if you want to try it down the inside of Acqua Minerale, considering the racing line is taking both of the inside of those corners away from you. So, yeah, it's a tough place to overtake. That's why you've got to be really, really on the money, try and get qualifying down to a T. And of course, this free practice session is their last chance for these drivers to really hone in their setup going in for the next 15 minutes of qualifying. It will be critical that they get themselves up the order as far as possible.
Well, this, of course, is where we see the first real pace setters being put on. Of course, you can see the mini-map there on the right-hand side of your screen. The red dot indicates what driver we are currently following. Any green dots that you see, or those very nice turquoisey dots, those will indicate other drivers around, and it will indicate where exactly other drivers are going to be up on circuit here today. This is Alex Johnston, who is in 4th position at the moment. That last lap time was an outlap, 232.2, but a 140.9 at the moment, good enough for 4th position. Now, there's going to be a few drivers here today who are maybe drivers that we don't have as much of an idea in the form book of where they're going to be, but this first race is going to be a very important settling out point to see who's going to be quick, who's going to go where. Leading non-Mercedes, we can say at this stage, almost like it's Formula 1, Gianluca Mangione here in the Lexus is the fastest of the rest, and in fact, there are only 3 vehicles inside of the top 15 in terms of manufacturer. You've got 2 Lexuses, you've got 12 Mercedes right now, 1 Audi in 15.
Yeah, and I have to say about Mangione as well, he's one of the only drivers out there that's driving, as a sort of, this is the equivalent of the privateer. No team association, although there is no team championship, you'll see that most of these drivers are associated with some sort of team with them that will support them and help them practice and get them prepared for these races. But in terms of Mangione, who goes 3rd fastest here, is looking to try and, see what he can do on his own out there. Maybe he works better as a bit of a lone wolf.
Of course, some say mercenary for hire is what I like to call in the sim racing sphere that you sometimes get. You get drivers who are very good at just slotting into vehicles and are very good any which way. Jan-Niklas Erbrich is someone just to quietly keep an eye out on. He's in 14th position right now as Jimmy Holm has jumped inside the top 10. Now, we'll go on board here through the second sector of the lap, and you really do get to see the elevation change around this circuit. Up the hill, small flick right in towards the Piratella corner, this 90-degree left-hander which falls away down the hill once again. You try and put the power down as much as possible, but the double apexed right of Acqua Minerale, one of the most toughest braking zones on the circuit. You have to turn and brake at the same time, which in any month of Sundays, Kieran, it sounds like a driver's worst nightmare.
Yeah, any idea of trail braking in GT cars is something you tend to want to avoid, but you know it's inevitable that you're going to have to do it, especially into Acqua Minerale. So watch out for drivers there overcooking it. It's very, very easy to do. So watch out for that as we now head down the hill in towards Ravazza. Now 2 90-degree corners here as you've got to really get the apex. You can sacrifice the first exit because you've got to get this second one absolutely spot on as Erbrich there gets a little bit of opposite lock and decides to abandon that lap in the Lexus there. Yeah, first part of Ravazza. Yeah, the exit of that corner, you can take it however you like. However, oh, there's a big off there for someone in the background. That's a huge one going in towards what I believe was just on the exit of Tamburello. But anyway, we'll have to see who that was. It could have been Dean Vella there. There he is in the pit lane and the GT Omega RPM Esports Mercedes. A nice livery to it as well, as we see Sheldon Muscat as well. Teammates in outside of the series, but here it's everyone for themselves. That could be a little bit of an issue here going in towards tonight. There's no team championship. Every driver is out there for themselves, but you will come across drivers that are teammates with each other. So it's interesting how they might handle this one.
You have literally just described the WWE Royal Rumble, and I like it at this stage. Here is Vishal Patel in the PC Boys racing car. He's currently in 14th position at this stage, trying to find some improvements. Only driver with the red AM on this vehicle. Of course, this is a Pro and an AM championship. They both run at the same time. Of course, Pro coverage is brought to you right here, right now. So the one Mr. Vishal Patel will be certainly hoping that the pace is there, and a 141.4 is currently best for him at the moment in the Mercedes, which says all you need to know at this moment in time, which is that sometimes just having an AM category doesn't necessarily make you the slowest driver. A lot of drivers get very quick and just need to find that little shade of consistency. Someone else part of the team is Daniel Greenshard, who is trying to make that run over to the line, currently in 17th position at the moment. A 41.4 last time by, but that would have been with a cut track penalty, so that will not count to the overall times.
Yeah, and you can see already practicing where those headlights are and where to flash them at this circuit. You're going to see that, especially in GT runs, that they do like them headlights, as you see there is a Ginchard there has to back out of it as Legaston gets a little bit out of shape there, now on towards the gravel, and he decides to just park it there. That's on the exit of Villeneuve there. So yeah, just decided to stay out of the way for now. Just didn't look like he got the entrance into 5 quite right. Looks like he clipped the gravel, and once you do that, you've got no chance of making turn 6.
Absolutely. Here is Daniele Pirone in the Nissan, looking to try and make some progress up the order here in free practice. They've got just about 2 minutes to find that before we start thinking about qualifying here in this one at the moment. 49.9 though over the line. You can see there is a start line and a finish line here at this Imola circuit. And of course, the start line is before the finish line, which is about halfway down here and is pretty much on that corner, which makes life a little difficult for some trying to work out where they should exactly paint the line. But we go on board with Daniele Pirone. This Villeneuve chicane, named after the legendary Gilles Villeneuve, such an underratedly difficult chicane because you've got a fast entry into a slow down second part of the corner, which leads into this very underrated Tosa hairpin, which is all about trying not to spin the car to the inside on the exit like it's Bristol.
Yeah, and at the moment, at this rate, Jake, you're going to say all the corners are underrated, but here we go in towards Piratella, now in towards turn 9. You can get a little bit greedy on the exit curve there on the exit as you head your way down in towards turn 10, now in towards Acqua Minerale there. You can see constantly Daniele's having to fight the wheel there just to try and keep some sort of control of the car. And then we head over the crest and heading towards Variante Alta, turns 14 and 15, a tight chicane this one. use all that curve on the left-hand side if you can, and then be as aggressive as you can. You can use a little bit of exit curve as well, as long as you keep 4 wheels, or at least 2 wheels, over the left-hand side of that white line. As we head our way now down through turn 16, you can see going all the way over to the left-hand side, pulling it right to then get yourself ready for Rivazza. Again, you can afford to sacrifice the exit of 17. It's 80. You've got to get the apex absolutely sweet there, because it's a long, long run all the way towards Tamburello again. Let's see what Pironi's lap time is like. As you can see, trying to make the distance to the line as short as he possibly can. He'll come across the line. We will be able to see a time of a 1:42.1. That's his quickest so far. That puts him as the 20th fastest driver in practice.
That's definitely very good. Redouane Messaoud, though, has gone even quicker. He's moved to a 1:40.077. That's good enough to be almost a 10th.5 clear here against Luke Whitehead. You can see it on your screen right now. And you've got all these drivers just trying to pepper themselves in around the top 6 in this one at this stage, split by just what is half a second at this moment in time. And in fact, I believe Sheldon Scott Muscat has just set the fastest first sector out of anybody so far. So that tells you all you need to know. All the time at the moment at this stage is coming along in the middle and final sectors.
Yeah, and of course, it's a track where you need to get the setup right as well. We haven't even talked about that. There's long straights, but there's also medium speed corners. Just a handful of slow corners. I mean, Variante Alta is probably the slowest part of the circuit, and even then you're still taking a little bit of speed through there, and aggression over the curbs as well. You've got to be careful that the suspension can actually take how aggressive you take at the chicane. So we're heading into qualifying now as we get the green light. Green flag is out, and you can see a very, very busy pit lane's about to emerge here. Look at the drivers there, all wanting to get out there and get themselves a lap on the board. And if we haven't discussed it already, overtaking opportunities and trying to find space out there and making it your own around Imola, such a narrow track, well, we're in for a bit of a gripping 15 minutes here.
We certainly are, when we've got 8 vehicles like that all tripping over each other trying to get out. Luke Whitehead is the first driver in the number 4 Mercedes out there on circuit looking to get qualifying in the books. It is overcast conditions, but there could be a little bit of sun on the horizon with just how everything is going to be looking in terms of this. Track temperature is 19 degrees at this point in time, so it's a pretty cold one here today. These drivers will be struggling for tyre temperature, I feel, in the early stages of qualifying, which maybe means over the course of these 15 minutes here, Kieran, that those times are really going to start dropping once you get 2 or 3 laps in the books and those tyres are up to peak temperature.
Yeah, and it's already a little bit warmer than it was in practice just a couple of minutes ago. 18 degrees air temperature and track temperature, so it's already slightly warmer than it was in qualifying. And as you can see, just in that top right-hand corner, there's some vital weather statistics. And as you can see, over the next 10 minutes to 30 minutes, it's meant to be sunny spells, but still a little bit of cloud in the air. So that might, help the track warm up a little bit in this qualifying session. But it's only 15 minutes of quali, and at the moment here, it looks like 19 is the way to go. Not much wind speed either, 2 kilometers an hour, just in that sort of east-southeasterly direction here, as it's always constantly changing how the wind blows here. But anyway, Luke Whitehead making his way around the final corner through turn 18 and then in towards the kink of turn 19 as we make our way down that start-finish straight. And you'll see there in that bottom right-hand corner the Race Logic timer giving us an idea of how quick this lap is going to be. Let's ride aboard with Whitehead as he makes his way through turn 1, now in towards Tamburello, braking hard now, down to 3rd gear, and you can see there a little bit of opposite lock through turn 2, try and keep the car under control as we make our way through turn 4, and you can see there trying to get on the power as quickly and as soon as we possibly can without spinning up those rear tyres. In towards Variante Villeneuve here, and again, trying to make sure you'll prioritise the line through turn 6 more than anything else. In towards Toza, then in through turn 7, a very tight left-hander there. Try and find the apex there. The car will want to understeer halfway through the corner, so try and keep it hooked up all the way through. Over the blind crest through turn 8 before you then head in towards turn 9, Piratella, and again, multiple attempts to try and get the front to bite in, and then multiple attempts to keep the rear in check. Does not look like a stable car at the moment. However, we head our way in towards Aqua Minerale, in towards 11, then towards turns 12 and 13 on the power. Try and use the uphill straight here to try and manage the wheel spin on the exit. In towards Variante Alta, turns 14 and 15. Quick shift to the left to try and get the curb on the left-hand side, open up the chicane as much as possible, and of course use the curb on the exit to make the chicane as shallow as possible so you can carry as much of the speed through as you possibly can. Through turn 16, then down towards 17 and 18 of Ravazza. Clipping the curb then nicely in towards 17, but now 18 is the most important one, because now you carry whatever speed you take through here all the way now to Tamburello again. But now you might have a little bit of slipstream, a little bit of a tow here down towards the start-finish line. Luke Whitehead will cross the line to set the first lap time of this qualifying session. What's it going to be? It's a 41.4, which is instantly beaten by Nola there in the other Mercedes, which is beaten then by last season's champion Redouane Messaoud.
Redouane Messaoud was unbeaten here in terms of battle action, unless it was in the rain. Now, Nicholas Hillebrand has gone up into third position in the Aston Martin. It's a 140.6 there on the board. That's 4 tenths quicker than anything we saw in practice. The Butler Power Motorsports car there in fourth position, having a pretty good run of things to start. Dean Vella moves into fifth because that's Mangione going up into third position. So the Italian then just behind Jack Nolla, who is in second position at this moment. Then Atkins finds himself up at the top. Not many people were thinking that Carly Atkins was going to be putting himself up there. Car number 2 now up in pole position as things stand.
Yeah, and that's going to be a vital chance in this championship, of course. Now pole position scores point in the Sprint Series, so pole position is going to be fought like it hasn't been before. Last season we saw, drivers try their all to get that pole position because it was the best chance of getting a good result. Now it's a great chance of scoring the first points of this season, so ever more enticing. But there you can see Carly Atkins now on provisional pole position with just under 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, and it's a 140.623. Good enough then for the front at the moment. A little bit of traffic in front, heading into Acqua Minerale. Such a tough section of road to be caught behind somebody else, as there's a little wiggle. Luke Whitehead in the number 4 jumps up to third, and Johnston goes into fifth position as Redouane Messaoud says, you know what? I'll raise everyone an entire second. 139.7. He didn't come to mess around. He came to play and defend his title.
He did indeed, and of course that is one way to make a statement in this new year, to say I'm back. Look at that, purples in sectors 2 and 3, only beaten by a tenth by Jack Nolla in that first sector. So that's just the only place he's quote-unquote losing time. But I doubt he'll be not too bad, because Carly Atkins is 0.87 seconds behind. That's a huge amount of time that Messaoud has gained. I think he'll be very happy with that lap, but he knows he'll push himself even more.
Certainly will. Of course, there's no harm in pushing yourself a little bit further forward. You've got drivers making good progress. Stromae has made great improvements over the course of the off-season, is now up into 7th position. Jimmy Holm in 8th, and there goes Jack Nolla, proving why the Acqua Minerale section is probably one of the most difficult sections of road you'll find in Europe. That turning and braking, you get it slightly wrong, you grab too much brake, you're seeing the back turn around. Alex Johnston moving up now into 2nd position, finds a 140.5, still 3/4 of a second off the pace right now, but still there is that time on the horizon. There's Luke Whitehead here, who has now dropped down into 4th position, needs to find those tyres warming up. Bit of a correction there going through the second Ravazza corner on entry, very easy to get that wrong. He's in the PC Boys LWR machine there, so a collaboration of sorts as Whitehead pushes over for the line, puts a 140.4 down, but it will not count because there was an off-track incident.
Yeah, so unfortunately it will not count, so he stays in P4. So Messaoud topping the standings right now as he looks to ever extend his advantage at the top. There's Mangione then, Gianluca Mangione now making his way on towards the start-finish straight, just exiting Ravazza now, as it's just full throttle now, all the way to the line. That's all you can do now. Just try and hope that you put in the best lap times possible, best sector times possible. And look at that, 40.4 from the Italian, puts him onto the front row. It's second place so far for Mangione.
You can't really argue against that one too much there. Great time. Yannick Ruoff moves up now into 6th position then in the 297 Mercedes. Mercedes then have themselves 1st to 8th, with the exception of Mangione, who's 2nd in the Lexus right now. This is Daniel Greenshaw in 15th position. Now, 15th is also very important in this championship, Kieran, because that is the last points paying position.
Yes, it is. So you've really got to try and lock down that 15th place. If nothing else, that is the last point scoring opportunity. So, yeah, I think Ginchard here making his first outing in the Sprint Series will be happy with that. But, of course, you're always going to be wanting more from the car as he makes his way towards the line. Now, I assume this is going to be starting a new lap for Ginchard, and this is when it comes up that he's lit up the timings. That's exactly what's happened. He's gone P8 then, 1:41.1, which now puts him inside of the top 10. Luke Whitehead making his way to the line.
Yeah, the outside of row 4 then for Greenshire. Here comes Whitehead looking to find some more time. Oh, he does as well. 1:40.176. That one will count. That one will put him up into second position. Crucially, halves the gap to Redwan Messaoud, which will be a little bit concerning, seeing those times tumble again and again and again. Now you put yourself in the dilemma here of qualifying. Do you go and get things working, come down into the pits, get a fresh set of tyres, or are you comfortable that those tyres still have some life to give, as we just saw there Nathaniel Thomas jumping up into 8th position. This is Calvin Hölzel here trying to make a bit of a push, moves up to 16th position, does the German, and now there is more time on the horizon to come. Hopefully that top 15 starts to get a little bit crowded here in and around that 141.
Yeah, I can't imagine Tamburello is going to be an exciting place to be for these drivers. It's going to be exciting for us because we're going to be seeing 2, 3 wide with how close the field is going in towards that top 10, top 15. It is going to be a spectacle to watch going in towards the first braking zone at Tamburello. And of course, Ginchard there in the PC Boys Mercedes making his way now onwards towards Ravazza as we head through turn 16 and then hard on the brakes, downhill as well. Very easy to lock up a tyre and very easy as well to miss your braking point completely and go in towards that gravel trap there that is just waiting to catch you out. Ginchard then making his way in the number 37 car on towards the start finish line, currently P9. Can he improve on his lap time in this lap? He can, to a 40.9, and that puts him now into 8th place, so moved up one position.
One position and one very crucial position at that as well. We did see Yannick Ruoff in and out of the server, which would have been a little bit concerning for him. Has to try and remain in, but we are now into the final third of qualifying. 10 championship points on the line for getting yourself in qualifying pole position. And you don't just get pole position for race 1, you get pole position for race 2 as well. This determines the grid 2 ways in this one tonight for 2 15-minute races worth of intense action at the moment. We're currently with Jack Noller through, I would say, the tamed Variante Alta. Of course, a corner which used to be a lot quicker, a lot narrower, and a lot more about bravery. But now here is Noller on the brakes, down the hill, gravity against you all the way. I wouldn't mind one of those houses there on the right-hand side. It would be one of the most ideal places as a racing fan to go and live. But here comes Noller then with the attack through the final section there. 1:35 on the clock there we saw on the bottom right before we move over to see what he's got. He's got a 40.7, good enough for 6th place. Outside row 3, your top 5, Messaoud, Whitehead, Mangione, Johnston, and then Atkins at this stage. And here is Cornelius Yasunas here, or Yasunas I should say, going across the line in 24th position right now. And this will be a case of the likes of Yasunas and Legreston here, hoping that they can find themselves maybe a few incidents early on in the race to move themselves inside the top 15.
Yes, and that's going to be crucial as well. Muscat, though, down in P26. It's not been a great qualifying session for him so far. Maybe he's looking for the one and only true lap then in that Mercedes. It's rare to see him that far down the table. Max Vathel then, we can see there he is actually, Sheldon Muscat now making his way out onto the track. So currently P26, he has at a lap time 43.3. So yeah, it's not every day you see Muscat down the field as much as he is, but maybe he's just putting a banker lap down and now he's back out on track to put a lap time on the board. You would normally see him in and around that sort of top 10.
I think he's just not put the best lap together at the moment, and he just needs one flying lap. He'll have himself one opportunity. There's 2.5 minutes remaining here in this qualifying session, so there's work to be done up and down the order. There is Jack Noller at the moment. They're 140.7 at this stage, but it's those drivers in front, the likes of Atkins and Johnstone and Mangione, who are all new to the championship here for Season 2, who are looking like they want to be challengers at the top and racing against Redouane Messaoud, hoping for an opportunity. Now you start seeing Nola. Look at this, he's gone fourth now on a 40.4, finds himself outside second row, bumps down Johnstone, bumps down Atkins, and only a few minutes ago we were talking about how Atkins was second overall.
Yeah, and it just shows you how quickly everything changes. And Nicolas Hillebrand there getting it all wrong out of Variante Alta there, just running a little bit too wide. He will get another chance, of course. That is if he's got the fuel to do it there in the Aston Martin, making his way now down in towards Rivazza, the double left-hander, but we'll see. He might get a little bit of a tow from the car ahead as well. There's Daniel Stromer, who makes his way in towards the second part of Rivazza and now making his way on towards the start-finish straight. Last time around, he said a 44.2. His best lap was a 41. Now let's see what sort of lap time he can set on the board. Currently in P10 in the number 3 car as he makes his way across the line, 7th place with that 40.8.
It seems like the track's just coming to these drivers at the moment. They've got themselves the optimum level of rubber, which has been laid down. There's 25 plus drivers here in this series, and all of them are putting in some great times. Max Waffel then is looking to try and get himself through. The Estonian in the Crushing Missiles car, looking to try and make sure that he gets himself inside the top 15. He's on the outside looking in at the moment. One more attempt after this. Lap time does not improve because that was an off-track point for Max Waffel, but Nola in 4th position. Redouane Messaoud we've seen none of since his big lap time, and I think he's quite happy with where he is at the moment. Whitehead still in 2nd and Mangione in 3rd. Nola's got one more opportunity after this lap, taking a very narrow line to set up, and does go 3rd, 140.254, and now this is starting to get a little bit concerning here. He's still 0.6 of a second off of what he needs for pole position, which shows you just how strong the reigning champion in the Ashtoire car has really been, the French-based team. But now you start thinking here, the timer has expired, and now it's about who's found improvement, who's jumping an extra place or two when it comes to their final qualifying lap time. We still need to focus on Sheldon Scott Muscat, see where he comes about with his one and only qualifying lap time. He's coming into the final sector right now and hoping that his lap does find the improvements that it needs. He's in 26th of 26, and now he wants to be up there, maybe inside of the top 10, maybe top 5 if the lap time prohibits it. So we'll see how this one goes over the start-finish line. Every driver looking to push. It's only P14 on a 41.3. That will be disappointing. Couldn't put the lap together. Too much pressure then in the final stage. It now pushes Malsharek down. Patel, who's found a bit of improvement. Jimmy Holm in the Ferrari, the leading Ferrari here, down in 11th position at this moment in time, will be a little bit concerning for the AWE team. But now it's all about, can you sneak one into the top 10, and can you sneak a little bit of time? Stromer is up now into 6th position, moving ahead of Atkins, who's now down into 7th place overall. So Stromer's found a little bit of improvement out on track. Here is Jack Nola trying to find some more. 1st, 2nd, 4th and 5th all in the pits. They all couldn't improve on their times, but Nola thinks he's got a little bit more in the back pocket. Oh, he does. Front row, 40.140. That is wonderfully done by Jack Nola to get himself over the line and up onto the front row. Still got a handful of drivers out there, but qualifying is finished. Pretty much every driver then is over the line and improved. And crucially, Redouane Messaoud has the pole position. But Kieran, the big story is that everybody behind was slowly finding increments and gaining places.
Yeah, that's the big thing, isn't it? That was that track evolution we just saw, just coming in towards the end of that session. And that helps that the drivers get more confident so they can try and take a better line, take a bit more speed into some of those corners. And we saw that confidence grow. Unfortunately for them, it was in that last 2 minutes where you've got to really try and commit to a setup or these sets of tyres or with that fuel load. So yeah, unfortunate to not see those times tumble down as far as they did, but that just shows you, Messaoud, what a lap time that was.
Well, he definitely wants to try and make sure that he is up there at the very top, and the only way you can defend your crown is by putting yourself in position one, has done so, and effectively, you could say stop the championship right now. He would be the champion with 10 championship points, and now has pole position for these opening 2 races. It's a rolling start in this series. This is traditional with GT3 category vehicles, Kieran. But what you need to look at in terms of how this race is going to start and how these drivers need to approach this sort of start, the key is, can you make a move into Tamburello turns 2, 3, and 4 in the very, very early stages? If you can't, Red One's the sort of driver who just likes to walk away from people.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge thing, isn't it? If Messaoud is ahead at Tamburello, that means he can get his head down and try and build the gap behind. For the drivers behind him, especially on the first row, the second row, the third row, they've all got to try and make those positions up. They've all got to try and get ahead of Messaoud. If they don't, they run the real risk of Messaoud just absolutely running away with it. He was at least half a second quicker than the man on the front row with him. So it's going to be a huge task for the other drivers around him to really try and not only keep up with him, but get ahead of him.
Exactly, and we see a lot of drivers wanting to try and get themselves into the mix. We are about 3 minutes away here from the start of the race. If you haven't already, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe for more amazing action brought to you by World Pro Racing. If you haven't already, you can head over to worldproracing.com. You can sign up for all sorts of events on all sorts of different platforms. We got things going left, right, and center right now, and it's a very busy start to the year for us here with World Pro Racing. But what is going to be key is maybe some drivers that, say, Red One Messaoud won't know as much about in this stage. We're just looking over and seeing who's keeping an eye out on what's going on today. Umberto Noto, who is here for the first season of the championship, isn't here for the second season, but his friend Gianluca Mangione, third position, having a very, very good run of things. You've got the likes of so many more. I would say fourth position. He was third for a while, but you've got so many more. You've got, of course, the likes of Atkins, who was up there, Johnston, who was wanting to try and put some effort in on the board. These drivers want to make a name for themselves quickly by finding good results in the opening race of the night.
They do want to make a good name for themselves, but they've got to be careful not to be too overzealous. There's a real chance that, you know, it's your first time here, you want to make a good impression, and you want to get some good overtakes on the board. I say, if you're just making your debut, keep your head down, you know, get to the checkered flag. To finish first you must finish. So, yes, you can pull off those overtakes, but don't make a name for yourself for dive bombing people into corners that shouldn't be overtaking corners at all, because you don't want that name over you. So get out there, get some laps under your belt, and bring the car home in a good point scoring position. That'd be a good debut.
And I think all of these drivers are definitely thinking points early on. They do make life so very, very easy for you later down the road. And we have seen that in so many championships. You build up a buffer zone early. If things start to go wrong for you, you have that to fall back on. If you're left chasing in a championship, it's a lot more difficult because you're putting more pressure on yourself to go out there and get that good result. We're about a minute away from the start of the race. And, well, you know, we're looking at this one now, Kieran, and I ask you, what's your pick for today? Who do you think's got it on the board?
Well, I have to say, Messaoud looks like he's on a bit of a charge, isn't he? He looks absolutely quick out there. He looked quick all of last season as well, so never count him out. I'm backing him for the win today purely because he was the only driver in that qualifying session, I believe, in the 1:39s. Everyone was 1 minute 40 or higher, so you know, you'd put some money on that, wouldn't you? So let's see how Messaoud does in that one. But Jack Noller as well, he looked pretty quick. He looked pretty quick around Imola. So again, he's going to be one to watch. He had a good season last season, and he'll be wanting to continue his form by getting himself a good result.
And a good result you can only get here with World Pro Racing. Of course, we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, on Twitch, on ESTV, the Esports Television Network, on TVM Sport in Malta, and on motorsport.tv as well. We bring ourselves then to the formation lap, or the half a formation lap, that these drivers will be looking to get themselves going through, and they'll all be very, very cautious and very careful about how they move forward. Jack Noller needs to just sit up and wait here a little bit for Red One Messaoud, who's just letting gravity do all the work here. They'll be on the finitest of finite margins here as they work their fuel and work their strategy here. 15 minutes is not a long time for for a race like this. So everyone has got to be alert and pretty much there already. Whitehead third, Mangione is fourth, and then you got Johnston. What a qualifying Stromae had to move into sixth position. Get ourselves ready. Season 2 is about to get itself underway. Your World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series here. 15 minutes at the wonderful Imola circuit. Well, they'll have to wait for the line. They'll wait for the opportunity to go, and then the season will get itself underway. 9:06 a.m. and it will start right around. And now they will be waiting a little bit longer for it because they'll have to wait for that other start line comes into play. There's the green flag, and they get themselves going. And finally, it's a great start from Jack Nolla. They'll go door to door here to Tamburello. Whitehead and Mangione going at it there alongside the imposter in the Lexus compared to everyone else. And around the outside, there goes Nolla. A little bit of contact there as they go through. Muscat then has jumped well up the order here as he tries to go through. He's probably about in 10th place. They fight through. A little bit of contact in the background as someone runs into troubles, but look at this. They go through. Nolla again having to defend here, but he's run too deep through Villeneuve, and there goes the Lexus skirting across the gravel as well. We'll have to slow down. So Redouan Messaoud's got what he wants. He's in the lead, but crucially, everyone behind running into troubles. There goes a huge accident down there at Tosa, and everyone's going to skittle into them.
Yeah, and it looked a little bit messy in towards Tosa there. And oh, we got an Audi off in the wall there as well. That's Malkarek in the red Audi there, getting a moment, and into the wall he goes on the exit of Tosa as well. And we'll have to wait and see if we can get a better view of that one. The stewards will definitely wanting to have a look. Yeah, it's still going on here as we've got the 295 car trying to make his way around. But Messaoud, importantly for him, has got ahead, and you can see there is a name missing at the top of that standing. Jack Nolla is now down as classified as 17th place. Rissart also with a drive-through penalty. I believe that was a starting infringement, so obviously he didn't keep to a speed limit, so he will have to serve a drive-through penalty as punishment there. And that is Yasinus there going around in the number 69 Mercedes as he now has to try and fight that car to try and get it back around. And there is Atkins there. Oh, and contact again as someone goes round. It's Thomas who's now into the gravel there, and Atkins will definitely be summoned to the stewards for that one, trying to make a move down the inside of Ravazza there. I believe that's Ginchard behind him, flashing his headlights. Obviously not happy with the second part of Ravazza as well, when whilst all that drama's happening, Messaoud and Whitehead battling away for the lead. Mangione there recovering to third. He didn't have a great start at all, but manages to find his way through back into third place.
I have to say, the line at the steward's office is going to be stretching around the block after that opening lap. That was very much a case of balk and all runners advance. Holm down there in 20th position, but crucially the top two clear at the moment. Yannick Ruoff here in 10th position. The good time racing car goes door to door and ends up on the outside looking in. I'm not sure if that was Erbrich or Vaffel he was fighting with at the point in time, and Legreston then already up into 12th position. A lot of drivers have gained in the early stages, and there goes Nolla off into the grass trying to save it, take some advertising hoardings away with him, the Audi Sport ones, and then he'll drop all the way back down to 19th, 20th position. He's got to try and fight his way back to 15th, mind you. That gives him just 1 point.
Yeah, and what a race it could have been. But, you know, these sprint races are unforgiving as well. People are going to have their elbows out. It's only 15 minutes to try and keep a hold or gain as many points as you possibly can. So aggression goes through the roof as Legreston now makes his way down towards Variante Alta. You can see there the Audi of Malkarek there trying to put some pressure on Legreston there as we make our way now down the hill towards Ravazza. On board with Pironi there, as we see, I believe that's Stromae getting a move down the inside in towards Variante Alta. That's not normally a place you'd see a car go side by side. I don't think Pironi was fighting that one too hard. He's got a lot of damage on that front of the car at the moment.
Certainly does. 23rd position, not ideal at this stage, but a lot of drivers have made progress in the early goings. Legreston still under pressure here for 12th place, and this is going to be an attempt here by the Audi to try and get past the Mercedes, which is very good in a straight line here on this long 1K straight, and Malsharek here is looking to try and find a way down on the inside, and just about does so, but he gets all over the anti-cut curbs not once but twice, and that will just bottleneck everybody back up again in this group of 5, looking to make some progress here through the field. Yannick Ruoff, oh, which way do you want to go? In the very fringes of the background there, trying to find a way through that one. Not going to work then, as Jan Ryler and co will find themselves in this scrap. It's fantastic stuff. We're already a third of the way through the race, and we've seen hardly anything of the top 10.
No, I know, absolutely, as Legreston tries to hang on to P13. All over the back of him, Jan Ryler, you've got Ruoff and Guinchard in the mix there, as well as Parry, who's joined along in the battle in that number 77 as well, just looking to try and get an open opportunity to get past. This is battling here for 13th place. It's a battle that's happening inside and outside of the points there, as Jan Ryler gets well onto the grass there. He's not going to slow that one down in time. Tries to take a line then through turns 12 and 13. Off track a little bit. He might have to yield there, which he does. But we're still going side by side then in towards that Variante Alta. There's Hurlter making his way now towards the Variante Alta. You can see there, that's the Ferrari of Jimmy Holm, who hasn't had a great start at all. He got caught up in the madness in the opening minute and finds himself all the way down into 18th place, the treble 7 car. Carly Atkins then 6th place at the moment, but he's under pressure.
He is, and he's just got through, actually, and has moved up then into that. But a 10-second stop-go penalty will go to Carly Atkins, then for an avoidable incident on Daniel Stramer on lap 1. And now you can see here, Hillebrand under pressure. This is Sheldon Scott Muscat trying to find a way the long way around here at Tamburello. Not going to find it immediately, but maybe can put the power down as the back decides it wants to step out on the Aston Martin of Hillebrand's Butler Powell Motorsports car. And now all of a sudden Muscat looking for the inside at Villeneuve, but you have to have bravery to make that one happen. It's a lot easier somewhere else to maybe go out there and attack down the inside, and he's not going to quite get it just yet. So work to be done then for a number of drivers, and Mikel Parry, final point Spain position, or it was, because he now finds himself in the gravel, and that goes to Jan Ryler, or that did, because that now goes to Jack Noller.
Well, it's all changing here, but Jack Noller trying to get a good exit out of Toza then, and he does, now up into a points-paying position, and now behind him, the 2 Ferraris are going to have a bit of a battle as well. Jan Ryler and Jimmy Hole making their way over the crest and down now in towards Piratella, trying to find a way past this Jimmy Hole. You can see there that Ryler runs a little bit wide on the exit, heading down the hill towards Aqua Minerale here, riding on board now with Jimmy Holm in the treble 7 AWE Ferrari here, and riding those curbs as much as possible. Just to expand on that penalty for Atkins, it's a stop and go 10-second penalty. Now, we have seen a harsher penalty applied, a stop and go 20 seconds, but in terms of the severity of the penalty, it ranks quite high.
It certainly does, which shows you how much the stewards aren't very happy with it. Of course, they are FIA accredited stewards, and of course there are 2 lots of stewards for both the amateur and the professional races that will be going on. This is the pro split you're watching right now at this stage, and well, at this moment in time there is so much going on. Of course, this is the team that's all working together on this. Adrian Fagayo and Andrea Mershake is there in the pro stewarding team, and you've got George Muscat and Nathan Mifsud on the AM team at this stage here today. That's all. Someone's in the gravel here, going straight on, and that will be Max Vaffel there, the Estonian in 10th position, who's going to be dropping down. And look at this, side by side, Muscat and Hillebrand trying to go at it, contact, and both of them are going to go skating about. Are they able to hold it? Erbrich through the middle and just about holds it.
Yeah, just about holds it, but that was a great opportunity for Erbrich then. He just saw the parting of the Red Sea and drove straight through it then. Muscat then trying to flash his headlights at Hillebrand. Then they're going to be battling all the way now in towards a Piratella turn 9. You can see then Hillebrand has got the inside line. Muscat has to back out of it for now as they make their way and descend all the way down towards Aqua Minerale. And really good driving then from Erbrich then, because whilst the 2 of them are battling behind, it gives him an opportunity to have a little bit of clear air and a little bit of time to himself that he can put in those fast lap times now in clear air.
Exactly. Hillebrand now in 8th position. It was 2 tyres on the grass from Sheldon Muscat there in 9th position. The top 2 still, Redouan Messaoud leading this race, Luke Whitehead in 2nd position overall. And those 2, you can see they're on the mini-map on the front stretch here. Redouan Messaoud's got a gap at the moment. Not a massive gap. It's about 8-9 tenths of a second at this stage, but it's enough at this moment for him to just start stretching his legs a little bit with 6 minutes to go. Gianluca Mangione has had the quietest race I think anybody has had. It's the silent third at the moment for the Lex.
It is, but I've got to remember the start he had wasn't great. He's managed to recover to third. Thomas behind him. He's not going to give him an easy time. He's going to try and close in as much as possible. Hillebrand here has still got some defending to do from Sheldon Muscat as we make our way now in through Tamburello, now flying our way through turn 4. And Muscat is not letting that Aston Martin go away anytime soon as we head towards Variante Villeneuve. Then Hillebrand doing his best here to just drive the widest Aston Martin possible. Muscat is all over the back of him, looking for a move up the inside at Tozer then, but Hillebrand sees that coming, grabs the inside, grabs the apex as well, and Muscat here is going to have to try and just be a little bit aggressive as well. We've seen him on the grass. He's not willing to give up on this 7th place, but Hillebrand is going to make it far from easy for him.
There's Calvin Hurlsall in 17th place. The bonnets popped up a little bit then after a little bit of damage earlier on. Still fighting it out here with Stromae, who's in 18th position and wanting to get through. There's Revox in front as well in 16th, and Parry in 15th position is the final points payer at this moment in time. And it's another little look to the inside. Piratel is a tough corner to get that one sorted as they all just skate a little bit wide there using that runoff area, which they do have the ability to do. We're inside 5 minutes to go, and now you start wondering here for these drivers, what can you find in the final stages there? Mistake from Revox going to allow both of them then to jump through, or in fact that may be some lap traffic then getting out of the way potentially. But ultimately here for Hurlsall, he is in a very, very big battle. Muscat hasn't really done enough here to get the move done, and now Vaffle's on the back, and you have to say that Aston Martin, it might as well be piloted by James Bond as Carly Atkins comes in for a stop and go penalty. Might as well be piloted by James Bond here, Kieran. The amount of gizmos and gadgets he seems to have at this stage to keep drivers behind him.
Well, absolutely. As Hillebrand here, 6th place now as Atkins comes into the pits. Meanwhile, that's Yasunas there. And, he's fighting away with, I believe that's Pirone, or now he comes into the pits, is he? Yep, he's coming into the pits. Of course, it's a sprint race here, so there's no mandatory pit stop, but slowing all the way down 50 kilometers per hour, I believe, in that pit lane is a very, very slow pit lane. So any penalty you have, any time you've got to visit the pit lane, it just feels like that pit lane goes on forever. Stromae, though, meanwhile, makes his way now into a point-scoring position. He was 17th about 2 minutes ago. Now he's moved up into a point-scoring position, as we see there making his way in towards Variante Villeneuve now. Quick left and then a right, not necessarily in that order, of course, as we make our way on towards Toza there. There's Rassar. Now he had a drive-through penalty for, I believe, for start line or starting infringement there. So that normally means he didn't keep to the speed limit. There's normally a speed limit you have to keep when you're on the formation lap or the rolling lap. When you get to the start there. So he might have exceeded that, or he might have sped too much, would have got the drive-through penalty. So he took that early on. He's currently P20 in the Sol McLaren out there.
He certainly is. Jimmy Holm in the Ferrari then. He's under pressure for 13th. This is Parry behind, wanting to get through, wanting to get some points. Jack Nollard's now moved up to 11th place through all of this. But at the moment, Jimmy Holm doing just enough as they descend down the hill. Behind that, there is Hurlsall in 16th position, has Patel for company there in 17th, as these two Mercedes look to battle it out then for these positions. And at this stage, it looks like every which way you go, there's some battles, and this is going to be interesting then on the front stretch between these two. Holm there in 12th. 13th is Parry for the time being, has to go to the outside, which is the high road, so to speak, but Jimmy Holm lifts off of the power, lets him go and have that position in the final 2 minutes of this race, and says, you know what, there's no one really behind me, I'm not really losing too much by not fighting you.
Yeah, and I have to say, Atkins' day is just going to get a little bit worse. Is Hurlsall there trying to fight off, I believe that's Stromae, as we make our way now in towards the first, or the second couple of quarters, I should say, in through Tamburello, and it's the 295 car there. So that's not for position. I believe that was a car unlapping himself. But there you can see a drive-through penalty for Atkins. That's for the incident on Guinchard. So that is another penalty for Atkins. That's just driving through the pit lane, though. But having said that, he's going to lose in P19, and possibly that would be his last chance for points if it hasn't already taken away from him now. But he's still got race 2 later on. Just got to clean up because he's starting in the same position he qualified in, of course, as the qualifying covers 2 races. And we head into the final 90 seconds of the first race.
I wouldn't give up on this race victory. Red One Messaoud has been clawed back in by Luke Whitehead with a couple of really consistent laps at this stage. 140.7 last time around, and Red One is in a dogfight at this stage at the front. Hillebrand still in his fight for the top 5 here. Jan-Niklas Erbrich here has not been able to pull away, and the Lexus being chased by an Aston Martin and 2 Mercedes here in what will be potentially the final lap of this race as they go through the lefts and rights, and the mistake from Muscat then is going to open the door. I want to focus on the race lead though for the time being. Red One Messaoud and Luke Whitehead here in their scrap, and Red One here has got just enough, a couple car lengths here just to give him what he needs. A couple, I mean 1 car length at this stage he's got of a gap, and now it's going to be about application from Luke Whitehead, who needs to find an orthodox place here with 30 seconds remaining now on the clock right now to go and find that position and find that place. Messaoud up the hill they charge then to the Variante Alta. This is where brave men try and make this move, dive down the inside, but you get a good drive off the exit here, you have yourself an opportunity at the Ravazzas, and you know what? Whitehead has exactly that as we chase on the drone camera, seeing how exactly will Luke Whitehead try and make it happen. He's got no more time on the clock, he's got to line up the lunge, and ultimately he is not quite there, but are they both going to keep it on the island? Mistake there by Messaoud as he struggles through the mid part of the corner. Now we're in drag race central coming towards the line. Red One Messaoud's just got to hold on a little bit here. He's got to take the line of least resistance. Looking down to the inside is Whitehead, but he's going to run out of road as they go side by side over the line. Red One Messaoud just about holds on for the race win.
That was fantastic, and Whitehead there you could see trying to get a good exit out of Ravazza. They're trying to take advantage of Messaoud's mistake, but Messaoud wins it by literally a wing mirror and a little bit more. So fantastic job from Messaoud to get the first race win of the season there. Jan-Niklas Erbrich finishing ahead of Hillebrand there, took advantage of Hillebrand and Muscat battling for position, slipped his way through, and up into 5th place he goes. Jack Noller, well, I have to give him all the credit here. He started on the front row, of course, had those incidents early on. He just had to keep a good frame of mind about him, and he's recovered there to 10th place. So didn't throw in the towel, got himself a good haul of points, all things considered, especially that. Well, 10th place gets you 6 points compared to, you know, when you're looking at P1 is 35 points. But don't forget, you get 2 points for most laps led, you get 5 points for the best laps, the fastest lap of the race, and you also get the 5 points, as Jake alluded to earlier, for being the most consistent. But that really only comes after the race has been completed, when all those drivers get to pretty much submit their figures. But there you can see Messaoud there winning by less than 0.08 of a second to grab the first race win of the season. Luke Whitehead in 2nd place, and Mangione there as well, you can see, in a little bit of a race of his own, 7.8 seconds off the lead, but he'll grab that first podium of the season and the highest finishing car that's not a Mercedes.
Absolutely, and also you've got to give a shout out there to Thomas, finishing in 4th position. Nathaniel Thomas had a very quiet run after a very hectic opening start, but that 4th place will go down as a quiet 4th place and effectively a Sergio Perez style 4th place, where it's 4th place. And we'll definitely take those, and that's why you see those sorts of results down towards the end of the season. Must say that we are not done here today at the moment. We've got more action coming up. We've got race 2 of the night, which will be happening very soon. And also we've got results coming in from the amateur category division as well, which saw Cavala pick up the win over Ohak, Piardi, Raja, and then Di Bastiani making the top 5 there in the amateur category division. But Kieran,
You
This stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your World Pro Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione Sprint Series live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and on Twitch.tv, as well as Motorsport.tv, as well as ESTV, and as well as TVM Sport as well. My name's Jake Sperry. I'm joined alongside by Kieran McGinley here today as we find ourselves just about 1 minute away from the start of race 2. And Kieran, you know, they're in the same positions as they were in race 1. The difference is they've had 15 minutes to work out how they race against each other.
Yeah, and we saw it was a little bit messy at the first race, wasn't it? Just a little bit of a Constantina effect when, you know, understandably, when you throw 25 plus cars at Tamburello and Variante Villeneuve, it's always not going to be the best scenario. So hopefully the drivers have got that first race out of their system. The first race of a new season is always going to be a bit nerve-wracking for some of the drivers. They'll have got that out of their system, and hopefully it's a little bit of a cleaner second start to this race.
And of course, it's going to be all about who can pick up maximum amount of distance here today, moving on to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th weeks of the championship, and moving on to rounds 3 and 4 in 1 week's time, where we head to the Kyalami circuit in South Africa, then Misano, Zolder, and Spa-Francorchamps, 2 Belgian circuits to end the season off. But the drivers already getting themselves into position. No surprises. Redouane Messaoud on the front. Jack Noller's hoping for a better race than he did last time out. He starts in 2nd position. Then you got Whitehead and Mangione, the 3rd and 4th place drivers. And there's someone already in the wall there in the background, right at the back of the field. So that's damage already, and that won't be ideal. It's a long wait here, ladies and gentlemen, for the start as they get themselves ready. But what is key about this one is that they're in trouble. Luke Whitehead is in the pit, so Whitehead will immediately start this one in pit lane, and he'll have a long wait today to get himself out and racing here for this 2nd race. And that's a shame after he picked up 2nd position in the opener. But everybody up a position, everybody up a place. It brings a little bit of a gap then moving forward. So these drivers all have to be cautious about this one as they get themselves ready. There will have to be a gap then, where massive space where Whitehead should have been. Stromae cannot open up into that gap and attack, but he'll have a good run to go through. Race 2 then, minus a Whitehead, will start right now as they get themselves going. It's a good start by Redouane Messaoud. It's a better start than last time. Nola was right alongside. They're 3 wide here with Atkins in the middle. Here as there's a little bit of contact as they dive down on the brakes and go through. And Nola again trying that line around the outside of Tamburello, forces the line of most resistance going through, and someone into the gravel then already, and finds Wall to go alongside with that as well. Jussi Nunes there is going to get a drive-through penalty for speeding on the start, but crucially it's Redouane Messaoud at the front, Nola 2nd, and pandemonium behind.
Yeah, absolute pandemonium there. We just see Malcareg, one of those drivers involved. Is there 2 Mercedes involved as well? I'm sure there's a handful more around the circuit. But yeah, once again, Variante Villeneuve not treating these drivers very nicely at all. Didn't quite see how that pandemonium started. What we do know is that it happened, as you said as well, the Mercedes there of Yasionas with the drive-through penalty. Wonder what the stewards will make of that one. And there you can see Daniele Peroni now making his way all the way down the hill there in towards Acqua Minerale. Legaiston trying to defend the inside line, but that's not going to happen. He's got someone on his outside there trying to defend now as we head in towards Acqua Minerale, up through turn 12 and 13, still having to try and defend there. Meanwhile, Messaoud leading the way. Jack Noller is in 2nd place. Mangione once again finding himself 3rd place in this race so far. And as you can see there's Dean Vella who gets a move done there. He now finds himself up into 19th. I believe that was Yasionas he passed as we make our way down the hill once again in towards Revazza. As Thomas has the inside line, he gets a bit of dust, bit of gravel in his face as well. There is Luke Whitehead. He has started this race from the pit lane, but he's all the way now down into 26th place. So not great for him, and he'll just be focusing now to try and get as many points as he possibly can from this position.
Yeah, everyone fighting. We're almost 4 wide on the straight. 3 wide goes into 2x2s. they all jam down. Vishal Patel is one of them here in the middle of all of this. Little bit of door-to-door as they go on through, just about managing to hold it nicely together as they move forward. Then one lap already scored in the book in what is a very, very hectic series at the best of times. Patel then finding himself through on the inside and getting by, I believe, Vela, or maybe Revox it was then in terms of that one. There's the lunge by the Lexus there. That is Revox trying to get through on Jan Ryler in the Ferrari. He gets a big swing of oversteer on the exit, trying to put the power down up the hill when you've got the least amount of grip going through the rear tyres, as now they put themselves on the brakes down the inside, and there's the contact, and no surprises. Spread eagle, broadsided, and around he goes.
Yeah, and always a move down the inside of Piratella. You've already alluded that it's such an awkward corner to even try a move there. So if you've got your nose down the inside, you're already putting yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage. Atkins then up into 5th place, Stramer in 4th, Grinchard then in 6th place, Hillebrand in 7th place, Roth in 8th. As we see there, that's Dean Vella having to defend there against the Aldi of Malkrek, who's, I believe he's just passed as well, as that's Patel around again. And he's just tapped that wall behind there, just in front of the marshals. But he's all the way now down into P25. Jan-Niklas Erbrich then 9th place for him so far. He's got ahead of Jimmy Holm as they now make their way down the start-finish straight. And Jimmy Holm, the highest running Ferrari so far in this race, trying to find a way through. They're both being hounded by Max Vaffel in the number 67 there. As Vaffel tries a move now, he'll have to go the long way round in towards Tamburello here. Jimmy Holm will have the inside line, and Vaffel has to stay out of that one for now, but he's already proven he's going to be all over the back of that Ferrari as Jan Ryler trying to defend from Thomas then, and there's contact between the two of them. Jan Ryler into the wall there on the entrance in towards Tamburello, and 2 into 1 didn't go.
No, and that is not good maths that you need, and you don't need Scott Steiner math to work that one out. Nathaniel Thomas then into 17th position. Then through all of that, a little bit of contact there, and now the stewards are going to have to be looking at this and thinking, well, what can we do in this sort of battle that we see at this moment in time? There's Mikael Parry in 13th. He's trying to actually now find himself through on the likes of Johnston into what is 12th place. Johnston has found a way back through, but the backstepping out through Aqua Minerale, that very nearly ended in tears, and we're already almost a third of the way through this one, as here comes Jimmy Holm down the inside and picking up the move on Max Vaffel there, actually moving up into the top 10 once again. That Ferrari is so good in the slow sections. That's why the Variante Alta is the place where that Ferrari is going to shine brightest.
And you can see Jimmy Holm there really confident on the brakes. There's Yasunas there at the back of the grid now. A stop and go penalty of 30 seconds. We'll try and get clarification as to what that was for, as we see there Legreston now in towards Rivata. 20th place for him so far, but once again you've got just the cars in front of you trying to take the curb on the outside. That puts up a lot of gravel up into the air. There is Yasunas making his way in towards the pit lane, so he's just served that 30-second stop and go penalty as he makes his way on towards pit exit, so he is well and truly going to be at least a lap down and more. Stramer then 4th place for him. He's having to defend from Atkins as they head their way in towards Toza through turn 7. Of course, it's sort of uphill on entry and then even more uphill on the exit, so try and use that to your advantage. If you spin up the wheels there, though, you will really cost yourself the momentum up the hill. You need all the power, all the torque you can get, and just a little bit of a moment out of Toza will compromise that one, but still holding on to 4th place. But there is your race leader, Red One Messaou, trying to make it 2 for 2 in the series so far, with Jack Noller in 2nd and Mangione there in 3rd.
Exactly. This is all about Redwell Messaoud wanting to get a gap and has done so very well over Jack Noller, who's got nothing for it at the moment. Hillebrand under pressure. This is Yannick Ruoff trying to find a way through. We'll look at it then from the back, or from the rear wing, I should say, here for Nicholas Hillebrand as he tries to put the power down. That Aston Martin's going to be in a bit of trouble here against the Mercedes, which is going to want to try and find a way through. It's going to be tough pickings here at Ravazza because the braking zone is early through this section. Ruoff had to lift off a little bit earlier, brake a little bit quicker, and now all of a sudden he's got to try and pick the run up again here for Tamburello, and that's what makes things difficult in terms of overtakes. You're not going to get too much here in terms of a straight line, but this is a really good run run from Yannick Ruoff here, who wants that 7th place. Hillebrand, we know, can go and defend a position and can defend a position well, but Ruoff, looking to the inside, decides he wants to jam on the brakes as late as possible, and there's no room for Hillebrand at the apex entry. He has to sit back and wait and allow Ruoff to go through into 7th.
Yeah, nice move from Ruoff as well. Again, confident on those brakes and just managed to get alongside Hillebrand and take the apex away, as he then gets a little bit wrong on the exit of Variante Villeneuve. Then we make our way now in towards Toza, and all that hard work that the Mercedes has just put in there might be undone. They make contact, and Hillebrand is into the grass there, and once again the Nissan of Urbrick, he's having deja vu. He's passing Hillebrand once again after a contact between two different drivers. Absolute deja vu there. Revox then trying to battle away with the Mercedes of Thomas then as they make their way up the hill. I think that's Dean Vella behind them as well as they make their way now in towards turn 9. Piratella, as you could just see there, Rassar now into a point scoring position.
Very good there for the McLaren. Of course, that Lexus of Jan-Nicolas Ulrich again finding a way up into 7th and past. They're doing well, and Parry's got a drive-through penalty then, which will be for avoidable incident on lap 1, and as well as Jimmy Holm, as well as Malsharek getting a drive-through penalty as well. So they're all going to be finding themselves down the lane in the opening bits of the laps. So now they've got work to do, as there is Jimmy Holm actually in 9th position, and actually now down to 10th because he's now dropped behind one of the Mercedes there of Vaffel, and I believe another one as well, that one potentially being Johnston, who's found a way through. There is Revux at this moment in time in 17th position, and that behind is Vella through on Malsharek. They're getting the place done, but Vaffel here still fighting with Jimmy Holm. Holm trying to take the big long line around the outside, and he's not got it for the moment, but now Hillebrand's turn to try and come back here and get back in. Look at the power of the Aston Martin, defended here by the Ferrari of Jimmy Holm, and then as they go into Villeneuve, he tries to fight around the outside, but there's no room at the inn, and trying to find a way through. Hello, Mr. Johnston. He wants to get in the fight, doesn't he?
He really does. He's just trying to get past as well, and just sensing those small opportunities to try and stick 2 wheels up the inside. He's got a good run as well out of Toza then as we make our way through turn 8, side by side, door to door, on towards Piratella. Up the inside he goes, in towards turn 9, but he takes a massive whack on the curbs there. Hillebrand takes a hit on his left-hand side, has to go off track as well, but Johnston up into 12th place.
Yeah, into 12th then, and trying to find those places. Peroni there in the Nissan is there in 13th position. He's trying to chase up. Thomas is back into the points and is doing quite a good job of things at this stage as we go on board with Hillebrand here, trying to chase down Johnston, who's found a way through. He's run wide though and struggled there to put the power down, so he takes that wider line, and that's not ideal. Now you go to the school of I want overtakes, please. You flash the headlights and try and cause a distraction. On the brakes into the left of Ravazza. Ravazza 1, Ravazza 2 follows up just after that before you put the power back down onto this 1 kilometre front stretch. And again, it's now about how you build that up and how you find that overtake and find that opportunity, going hard to the left-hand side. Oh no! Both into the wall, both out, and that was a little bit too much there from Johnston. If I had my word about that one there, Kieran, he was defending incredibly hard on the straight.
He was indeed, and I think we're going to get another look at this one here. So you see then Hillebrand gets a good exit off of the second Ravazza. He now gets into that toe that's needed for the Mercedes. You'll see he'll move to the left-hand side of your picture to try and get alongside the Mercedes. There it goes. Mercedes then tries to pretty much cut him off there, and then Hillebrand, of course, tags the rear there because Johnston puts that car over. So Hillebrand gets Johnston into the wall there. That will definitely be looked at by the stewards, and Johnston here, well, they found each other back on track again.
And there's been a change here, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, because Mangione has found a way through on Jack Noller, and Noller's under pressure from Stromae, who is in 4th position, and it's 2 teammates here, Noller and Stromae, here trying to work it out between each other, how they get through. They've got Atkins in the background as well in 5th position, and don't count out Greenshaw either in 6th place in the number 37 Mercedes. So right now, Mangione in the Lexus is keeping the Mercedes train behind him, but Nola's not going to give this one up very easily. He knows he wants to be out there, he knows he wants to be aggressive, and he knows he wants to be picking up places sooner rather than later at this moment. Hard to the left-hand side. We've only got 3 minutes to go here in this race. Redouane Messaoud is miles down the road by comparison to these drivers, but Gianluca Mangione on home soil, or virtual home soil, some would say, is now trying to hold off for second place.
Yeah, and this second place could give him second place in the championship. He finished third in the first race here tonight. Now he finds himself in second place with Jack Nolla not having a great race last time out. This could be a chance to get second place in the championship heading into next week. So Mangione here is having a great time out there as he heads towards Tosa here. And as we see, just in that temperature, 21 degrees out there in the field, but 24 degrees, I should say, is the track temperature. Now compare that to the first race. We were looking at the 20s for both of them. So it has increased the track temperature, so in theory the tyres will get a little bit warmer. The tyres should be able to have a little bit more grip, but on the negative side, it is now easier to push the tyres in terms of temperature a little bit too far over the edge.
Yep, and that's going to be the worry. There is Redouane Messaoud, and that's the battle behind him. He's got himself about 4 seconds worth of time at this stage, or maybe even more than that, in the Ashtois racing car. There is Tom Revics, though, fighting for 13th, 14th and 15th, because that behind is Sheldon Scott Muscat diving down the inside with a limping Nicholas Hillebrand, who's currently scoring 1 point at the moment with his wounded Aston Martin. Muscat gets it around the outside and picks up a wonderful overtake then on the Lexus driver of Revics there as they go up the hill towards the Variante Alta section. Just a couple of laps, if not 1 lap, left to go at this moment in time, probably looking at 2 to go at this moment in time, but Mangione then coming over the line. This will be the final lap of the race, and Jack Nolla wants in.
He really does, and third place will not be enough for him. He didn't have a great start to this championship. 10th place in the first race. He'll want second place at the very least to try and get himself up the order once again as we now make our way in towards Variante Villeneuve, as it's just trying to take the right line through there, not quite getting the exit right. Stromae left a little bit vulnerable. Rassar and Ryler then battling away for P20 as we make our way down the hill towards Rivazza then, and that pink striking McLaren there trying to hold on. Jack Nolla in third place with 40 seconds on the clock though. Messaoud up the road as well, as we've got a drive-through penalty for Patel for causing an avoidable incident. Now it's very late on in this race. Will he be able to serve it, or will it be added on as a time penalty to the end of his race? He's pitting now.
Yeah, he's pitting now, so he's got the opportunity to do so. There is your race leader, Redouane Messaoud, who had broken away in the opening couple of laps away from Jack Nolla, and everybody else behind ended up in the train behind Nolla and Mangione. But for Redouane Messaoud, this is how you start off the defence of a crown. It gets a little bit of sideways action there going through the penultimate corner, but as he makes the drive to the line, the white flag is out. This will be the checkered flag now as he runs to the line. Redouane Messaoud does the double at the Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari for second position behind. Mangione, I think, is just about able to hold on for this one, and then it's processional there from that then, because you've got Nolla on the podium, Stromae with a career best 4th place, Atkins in 5th, and Guinchard a quiet 6th place on the back of that. But a number of drivers in the early stages making errors. Most crucially, that driver in 19th position. The final points paying position will go to Legreston, who didn't get a championship point last season in the championship, but he'll start off his 2021 with a championship point as he comes over to the line. Hillebrand finishing in 16th place then to finish this one off. But crucially, Whitehead there in 19th, Kieran, to finish off.
Yes, Whitehead would have loved a better race than that for sure, but he did start from the pit lane as well, so he started already on the back foot. But it's Messaoud going 2 for 2. Almost rhymes, but there we go. In the Ashtois Racing Mercedes, he'll be absolutely thrilled with that one. That second race, he made that look easy, didn't he? But I can assure you it is not. Imola is an unforgiving circuit at the best of times and will punish mistakes. But for Messaoud there, normally a good sign where if you're the race leader, and we don't see a lot of you, a very, very good sign. It means you've had the quietest race you possibly could have and got a good set of laps under him as well. But he'll be happy, top of the table, and we'll await to see sort of fastest lap bonus points, laps led. Well, that'll go to him as well. We've seen Messaoud leading every single lap of this race, especially. So he's definitely going to get the 2 points for that one. But there we see Messaoud just enjoying it. 2 out of 2 for him. He'll be absolutely loving life at the top of the table.
He certainly will, as they will all dive into the pits then after their in-lap, and you can see the gap 6.5 seconds come the end of that race for Redouane Messaoud, and can be incredibly happy with a result like that. But Kieran, we need to start putting a little bit of focus here at this moment. We are going to have driver interviews coming up in just a little bit, but we do need to focus here on where we find round 2 of the championship coming up, because we are heading over to South Africa to the Kyalami circuit, and one which really, you have to say, is like riding a roller coaster with every element available for overtaking.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to going there. It's not a circuit I would conventionally go to. However, at the same time, I'm much looking forward to it, much looking forward to the journey there, and I'm sure it's going to provide us some great racing. Hopefully some cleaner starts as well. We saw it here at Imola. The starts were a little bit sketchy, especially going through Variante Villeneuve. Just something about that kept catching drivers out. So let's hope for some cleaner starts next time around. But Redouane Messaoud, I mean, he'll be going into the next round as well. Pole position added to that as well. So at least 80 points for him, at least. There's still other points yet to be added up, like the most consistent, fastest lap and laps led overall. That'll be added in the near future as well. So hopefully we'll be able to give you an updated standing next time we are live, which is, of course, next week. So don't miss that. Jake, that was a fantastic race. 2 races, 15 minutes. Full of action.
Absolutely, and full of action, but with the same result come the end. Redouane Messaoud stands with me right now as the race winner for races 1 and 2 of the championship. Redouane, 2 races, 2 wins. Job well done, very happy.
Yes, I'm happy for two race to win. So it's cool for beginning the championship.
And of course, just starting your season off with big results like these, you know you needed to get off on the right foot, especially knowing that you've led every single lap of today and you're focusing on putting the bonus points in. How important was getting that pole position in qualifying, knowing that you were already 10 points to the good moving into the races?
Keep calm on drive safe, not be too angry with the car. So keep calm on the driver in quali on go.
Well, you had yourself a really good opportunity today to put a marker down. You have done that, and now you find yourself a number of points clear at the top of the championship after 2 races. 2 more coming up next time out at Kyalami. How do you feel Kyalami will be as a circuit that suits maybe your driving style?
I love Kyalami. I love that track. And my name Redouane Eagle Porsche. So Kyalami, I take the Porsche.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, Redouane, it's a race victory. Shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank for what is back-to-back race victories today.
I'm happy to have a team H3 Racing. So no sponsor, but sponsor come maybe.
That might be an opportunity. Hey, if anyone wants to sponsor H3 Racing right here, right now, it's free real estate here if you get in. Redouane Messaoud, a race victory overall. Second position then in that second race went to Gianluca Mangione. He stood by with Kieran McGinley.
Yes, Gianluca, 2 podiums out of those 2 races. I mean, talk us through it. You did a fantastic job out there.
So I'm going to jump in here.
Yes.
I'll be obviously translating for him because he doesn't speak English, so he speaks Italian, and I'll do the translation for you.
Well, thank you very much. So, Adrian, obviously 2 podiums back to back. That's a fantastic start to the championship. So, how do you feel?
Allora Gianluca, 2 podi ovviamente, 2 gare, 2 podi, come ti senti dopo questo? Gianluca? Gianluca?
It seems like we're having just a little bit of technical issues here with Gianluca. We'll try and get back to him a little later and see whether we are able to get him available. But in the meanwhile, Kieran, you found Jack Noller, who managed to finish third.
I have, yes. Jack, great to have you along here as well. Obviously, first race didn't quite go to plan, but you recovered in the second race. How did you feel about today?
I just got in race 2. I just got in my own head. I couldn't get out of it. Just overthought everything, which is ultimately it was my P2 to lose, and I lost it unfortunately on my own behalf. But wasn't even pushing, just trying to consolidate the result. But these days happen. I've been focusing too much on, well, not too much, a lot on university work, and we'll be doing that after this. So more practice will definitely be on the cards for next round.
Well, obviously, we obviously hope the university work is going well, but obviously as well with the driving, you managed to recover to P10. So there's a certain mindset you've got to have about that. You must be happy with that sort of recovery in the first race.
Yeah, the recovery in the first race was good. I drove much better in the first race than I did the second, barring the braking zone, turn 4 and turn 5. I just missed that, which put me in the position that meant I was hit, which is unfortunate. But yeah, there's a lot to learn from this weekend. Good to know that I'm on the pace. My best qualifying I've had, P2, that was very strong, especially after having traffic on my first stint. Had it all to do in the last 3 minutes of qualifying, so very happy with that. Just didn't go all my way today.
And of course, a quick preview then. We head to South Africa next, Kyalami. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes, it's a track I've driven. It was the first track I've driven in this game, so in this sim. So I know it relatively well. Older tyre model, not tyre model, but tyres, so the cars will react a bit differently than they do here, so I'll be getting back to used to that one again. Sorry, but yeah, getting back to used to the old tyre compound on the international, in the Intercontinental GT tracks, so yeah.
Well, obviously now, Jack, the floor is yours for any shout-outs, any sponsor mentions.
But thank you to GT Omega and HyperX, along with you guys yourselves and Gaming Malta. So thank you, and I'll try and do better next time. Try and get a win.
Well, thank you for joining us, Jack. I'll hand it over to Jake once again. Who have you got down there now?
I've managed to find Luke Whitehead, which is a very interesting conversation that I think we're going to have. Luke, let's start with race 1, because it seemed like you were almost on top of the world there with that drive to the line. You were just short by about 0.08 of a second, but really you found maybe the only real weakness we've seen from Redouane Messaoud over the course of the last 5 races that he's been a part of.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying, I got a good lap in quite early compared to quite a few other people. Just got pipped, obviously, by Jack for third. And just, at the start, avoided all the incidents, of which there were many, looking back. But, yeah, just the pace was pretty decent. I was just kind of consolidating second, really. I knew I had a big gap behind and knew that I'd read one in front as a benchmark. So I just kind of sat about a second or so back, just not really pushing, just letting the toe sort of keep me in it. And then, of course, he got sort of blocked a little bit by a back marker, I think. And then, obviously, I just I could have taken more risks, but there's no point really this early in the season.
And let's talk about race 2, because it was a surprise to pretty much everyone that found yourself down on pit lane then very early on. Was it a case that maybe you just got caught napping and missed the start, or was that maybe something else that we hadn't really caught on camera?
Well, I was basically, my tyre pressures were too high in race 1. And basically going into race 2, I was changing them. And then about 5 seconds before it went green, I realised I'd gone the wrong way. So in sort of trying to get them the other way, I didn't make it. Completely my fault. I'm pretty, to say the least, I'm massively embarrassed by that. I should really know better, considering how, obviously I did last season, and I've never had that ever. So yeah, really gutted, because I feel like the second race, given looking at the gaps and looking at the race, I did a quick look at the replay of the guys at the front. I think we could have had another good result there, but yeah, it is what it is. You just got to learn from these things, pick yourself up and move on.
Absolutely. And well, picking yourself up and moving on, it is Kyle Army next time out. It's 2 more races at a track which really does put, I think, every element of racing on the table, which I would say is probably the greatest secret track that I think nobody has really rediscovered at this stage. But Kyle Army is a circuit for you. How do you feel that your chances are going to be improving on what happened today, especially knowing that you left maybe quite a few points on the table and you have that opportunity to get those points back on the table maybe in a week's time?
I mean, I think I have a chance. I mean, you never know until Red One sets a lap. So I feel quite quick. I feel quite confident. I've done quite a bit of racing and stuff in open lobbies and what have you. So I've done quite a few laps. Obviously, it's easy to get complacent. So I'm trying to, again, you never really know until you're racing on Friday. But we'll see how it goes. At least I know not to make these mistakes again.
Well, before we let you go, Luke, you did get second place. You very nearly found yourself with a victory. The floor is yours for shout-outs and sponsors.
I'd like to say a massive thank you to my sponsors, Renvale, Sherwood Restoration, the Car Crowd UK, and just everyone that's been watching. I didn't really put on the show that I would have wanted. I'll certainly be looking to improve on that one. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you very much.
Luke Whitehead there, second in the first race, finishing down in 19th position in race number 2. Kieran's going to try again here through Adrian Fagaya to find Gianluca Mangione, and hopefully his microphone has found its way to work.
Hopefully so. So, Gianluca, obviously back-to-back podiums in the first round here. You must be happy with that.
Gianluca, ci senti?
Sentite?
No, c'hai dei problemi col microfono, mi spiace, dai.
Sorry, mi dispiace.
Ritornato adesso?
Dai.
Ok. Allora, 2 podi, ovviamente, 2 gare oggi, 2 podi. Come si sente?
Allora, mi sento bene, è stato bello, divertente. I ragazzi lì davanti veramente fortissimi, le 2 Mercedes lì davanti imprendibile. Nella seconda ho avuto un po' di fortuna perché uno ha sbagliato e quindi ho chiuso secondo. Niente, mi sono divertito, bellissimo.
So actually it was, he had fun, great races, obviously enough. The guys up front, he said, they're very strong guys. He enjoyed obviously racing with them. He was lucky on race 2 because there was one of them who obviously did a mistake, and obviously that meant for him becoming taking podium second also. So it was great fun finally.
Oh, that's great to hear. And obviously, after these 2 races, if my maths is right, which it's probably not, that's second place in the championship, and you're having fun out there. So all signs are good so far, are they?
Allora, ovviamente dopo 2 podi, se la matematica va bene, sei secondo a un campionato quando ti stai pure divertendo. Come si sente questa cosa, dai?
Guarda, è la prima gara, quindi ce n'è ancora gare da fare. La prossima, se non sbaglio, è Kalayami, quindi Kalayami è un po' difficile per me con la Lexus. Vediamo, io comunque ce la metto tutto, do il massimo, il 100%, e vediamo cosa succede durante il campionato.
Oh, he said obviously it's only the first race. It's good, definitely. Next round up is Kyalami. It's difficult for him, obviously, with his Lexus, he's saying, but he'll give his 100%, and then obviously he'll see from there. It's important that he has fun. So.
Well, that's great. That's an important thing as well. And obviously, you've mentioned now, Kyle Army, you're going to stick with the Lexus for that one. Do you plan to stay loyal to Lexus for the entire season, or is it sort of a see how you go basis?
Allora, hai menzionato Kyalami, adesso ovviamente hai detto pure che terrai la Lexus per questo round. Userai tutta la Lexus per tutto il campionato, credi?
Io penso proprio di sì, perché comunque la Lexus è la mia macchina, la guido da sempre, e comunque a me non piace tanto sempre cambiare macchine, capisci? Quindi penso che per tutto il campionato tengo la Lexus, e vediamo. Anzi, spero vivamente che a Calaiami ci sarà la pioggia.
So yes, he's gonna be faithful using obviously the Lexus. The Lexus is his car and that he's been using for quite some time, and he enjoys obviously driving that car. So he'll be driving that car for the whole series, and he's obviously now mentioning that hopefully at Kyalami there will be rain, and obviously that will be an advantage for him.
Well, any sort of rain dance might help you there, Gianluca. But congratulations on your podiums today. The floor is yours for any shout-outs and sponsor mentions.
Allora, congratulazioni un'altra volta. Vuoi menzionare degli sponsor o qualcuno che vuoi ringraziare?
No, sponsor no, ringrazio i ragazzi commentatori dei complimenti e poi voglio mandare un saluto a un caro amico mio, Umberto, che peccato che non c'è, e niente, tutto qua.
Sponsors not, obviously enough. He thanked you for the nice comments you gave him, and a shout out to his friend Umberto that he's not here, but obviously enough he wants to give him a shout out.
Grazie, Gianluca. Thank you for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you around further on in the series. And I'll hand it back to Jake.
Absolutely. We've seen some brilliant racing up and down the order. We've seen the madhouse, so to speak, in a couple of senses. We've seen some brilliant battles. We've seen high-speed instant, and we've seen more and more going up on the horizon. But next time out is going to be a different challenge. It's Kyalami, and it's got probably one of the greatest second-to-final sectors that you will find in the world of racing, and it's also proof to the testament why we are World Pro Racing, one of the few African continent circuits that you find on the sim racing spheres. But from everyone who gets it done for us, of course, down there you can see all of the sponsors that have been here a part of this process forward with World Pro Racing. From the team that's been working on two splits today, both the amateur category and the professional category, you've got the likes of Adrian Fagaio and George Muscat, who have been race directors for Pro and Am divisions, and then Andre Mersheka and also Nathan Mifsud, who have been Pro and Am stewards here today. From the crew, Justin Mifsud, who's been behind the cameras, from Mr. Kieran McGinley, who's been alongside me, and myself, Jake Sperry. This has been a race which Redouard Messaoud can take to the bank and smile very, very brightly with here today. He knew what he needed to do today. Start off on the right foot on a positive drive forward. It's been exactly that, and now the focus goes to Kyalami. Is it going to be a case of putting 3 and 4 straight wins on the board? Or are we going to see a different turn in the tail? Maybe the consistent driver like Gianluca Mangione. Maybe we could see Jack Noller back there. Luke Whitehead has an opportunity. Or maybe someone else putting themselves up at the very, very top. We're going to see you very, very soon with that then here, but there's so much more with World Pro Racing. The only way you can do that is like, share and subscribe for the action that you've seen on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch, ESTV, TVM Sports and Motorsport.tv. We'll see you for round 2 at Kyalami. stream is powered by Melita, using Melita Gigapower Internet. World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
For only €5 a month, experience every high-definition moment on your TV, tablet, phone or PC. Great teams, great moments, and so much more. TSN from Melita is your ticket to stay in the game. Visit melita.com/sports.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
This is so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
Wish your Wi-Fi network would just work in any room? Our new Stellar Wi-Fi is AI assisted to give you the smoothest, fastest possible Wi-Fi throughout your home. Stellar Wi-Fi, assisted by AI, exclusive to Melita. Find out more in-store or online.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.